Welcome to the Good Games Podcast, episode number 206. This is the show, of course, where we talk about video games and gaming-related things. I am your host this week, Alex Nunez. Unfortunately, Frank could not be here this week because he is down at E3, but, oh wait, what is that? Do we have word from on the street live at E3? Frank, are you there?
Hey, Alex. Yes, I'm here. I'm here on site. How's everything going? Because I'm over here in the West Coast at E3, and things are great here. But I'm gonna just correct you a little bit on that. It's not quite live right now because
it's live to tape.
yes, and also it's also day one, and the conference is over for the day. So
yeah.
I'm just kind of here, just hanging out right now, but I'm glad to be here. Unfortunately, I know it sounds like I'm recording with a potato, but, we'll see what we can do.
Right, yeah. We will make do with what we can get, but yeah, it's it's crazy. I've been at home, of course, just taking in all the press conferences and stuff, but how's it been going for you so far? Like, how's your first day of E3?
Well, E3 is always, I say always like I've been there like so many times. But,
you're the professional now. You've been there one time and already you're like an old veteran.
Yeah. No, but E3's it's been amazing, man. There's been, all the conferences this year have been just like crazy, some more than others, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But to be here and to be able to like experience like, hey, they talked about this. And it's right here and it's ready to play. So I've been kind of trying to do as much of that as I possibly could. I will definitely say this year that it's kind of weird. They've been kind of like treating the gamers as like, less than human. I want to say with the bag policies and like the way they do the lines now, it's kind of stupid.
Yeah, how's that been going?
It's definitely way worse than it was last year. So I got lucky last year because I ran into our good friend Mark Knuckles Carter.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Last year, but last year it was bad, but this year is even worse. Like they basically corralled us into like two different locations. Like there's a front entrance and a side entrance. So they corralled everyone into one of those two locations, and we basically had to wait because I guess the industry people complained last year about the way things were handled with allowing the public in at the same time as the industry people. And so they complained enough that now we got to go in a whole, I think it was like a whole 4 hours later.
Oh, wow.
And the industry and the professional folks. So that involved a lot of standing around and waiting because you couldn't, if you weren't waiting for a while, you couldn't get into the show like at a decent time. So they let the industry folks in at 10 a.m. Pacific, and they let us in at 2 p.m. Pacific. So basically in our time I had to wait till 5 o'clock evening.
Damn.
In order to get in. And I was luckily I was near the front. I tried to meet up with Mark again because he's also here.
Yeah.
But he went to the Last of Us 2 panel at the LA Live Theater. That's all the way down, it's all the way down the street.
Oh wow! Okay.
It's like on the other side of the Staples Center.
I didn't realize it was that far away.
Yeah, it's pretty far. I'd say it's like maybe 3 or 4 blocks. So it's on the other side of the Staples Center. So I was trying to get to him, and I'm like, all right, I'll just luckily my hotel here has a shuttle, so I'll just I'll just get a shuttle over there and I'll pick up my badge, which was very easy to do last year, and I'll go over and meet him. And so I left with enough time. Dude, the fucking badge pickup line was stupid. It was man, it was again, it was the whole corralling the gamers into kind of like a really unorganized sort of line. That line was 6 blocks long. I'm not shitting you.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
so
yeah,
but
I
it
guess
moved.
it doesn't help that they didn't mail out badges, right?
Yeah, they never did. As
Yeah.
far as they never intended to, I should say, as far as I knew.
Mm-hmm.
So it moved fairly quickly, but that was still like about an hour of waiting to get badges, even though they had a lot of people, and there were two
Mm-hmm.
different badge pickups, but it was the same thing at the other one. But yeah, so I got my badge, and I'm like, all right, and it was like 11:05, 11:06. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll still go meet him. So I tried to find the place, and when I finally did find the place, it was like 11:20 something, and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I'm gonna take the L on this one,
Right.
and I'm gonna see what else is going on, and then I might go wait online. Like
Okay.
at least I should be towards the front, and then I got to the line at like 11:40, and I literally waited like 2 hours and 20 minutes just standing there.
Yikes. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Luckily, we were under a tent where the other people, they were not so lucky. They were, I think the front of that line was in like a parking lot with air conditioning, but the rest of the line,
Just out there
sunlight
in that LA sun.
out there in the LA sunlight, and
Oh no.
it was kind of humid today. There was some breeze, but
Okay.
it was kind of humid today, so I felt really bad
Ugh.
for those people. So
Yeah. That
yeah,
that
so
sucks. That blows.
yeah, yeah. So my initial experience for E3 was not great because it seemed like it was like even more line con than last year. But
Yeah.
once I got inside, everything was wonderful. It all opened up and got to go to all these booths. It seems like there's more this year than there was last year because I remember it was kind of like overwhelming to me for a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, I digress. I'll definitely talk more about this next time. With
Yeah, it's still day one for you
it's
still,
still
so there's more.
yeah, nothing. So things might happen while I'm here, and stuff like that. But I just wanted to say generally, E3's been dope. The first day has been great, and
Okay.
I can't wait for day two, day three, and
How long does the show floor stay open until?
just it. You mean daily?
Yeah, like
Seven
when do
o'clock.
they shut down everything?
They shut everything down at 7 o'clock, but that's just the main floor. There's still
Right,
stuff
right,
going on at the LA Live Theater that I was gonna go to. They still have that stuff going on till like 10, I
right.
believe, and then yeah, yeah. So but 7 o'clock, the show floor closes at 7. So it kind of sucks for us gamers that we were only there for 5 hours technically.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at, especially for like how much that those tickets cost, because it's pretty expensive
Yeah,
for
those are
like
pretty
a convention
expensive.
like that.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised though. Like this year, I got lucky and I was able to grab one of the first 1,000 to get the reduced price.
Uh huh.
But for the people that paid $250 for 3 days,
Yeah, and this is the treatment you're getting. Yeah,
yeah, it's
it's
pretty
not a
bad,
great
dude.
deal.
It's pretty bad. Like that's no way to, and especially like it's kind of shitty for the industry people to kind of like because that's what happened because I saw and heard of various complaints that
Yeah,
it wasn't handled correctly, and people were being kind of snobbish and saying like, "Oh, they shouldn't have been let in at the same time as us." And, oh
I
man,
mean,
there were too many people in there last year
yeah.
because it was a shit show because of it. There's too many people, and I'm like this. I'm like, you guys have never been to Comic Con before, have you? Like
I,
that was nothing. There was walking room. There were many places to sit and just hang out.
Well, the difference is like they're there to do the job, right? And they have
Right.
meetings to get to and stuff. And I understand their complaints. If anyone is to blame, it's the people that run E3. Probably the best thing that they should do is maybe just do what TGS does and just have a
A
press or
separate
press
day.
days,
Yeah.
specifically for press to get their stuff done, and then open it up to the masses. And then that's at least those people have that little brief amount of time to get their work done and get their interviews in and get their coverage without having to wade through masses of people.
Yeah. I get it too. I get it too. It's just that I don't know. This year, it really seems like we're getting shitted on as like the public, and
Yeah.
especially like you said, paying that money. Like it really seems like we're getting shitted on. It's bad.
Yeah.
That first experience, I'm just like, nah, that's no good.
It doesn't seem like this whole public access thing, like opening it up to everybody, was not really well thought out.
Yeah.
It was like they were just like, oh shit. It was almost like a panic mode sort of thing. It feels like, where they're like, hey, we should make some more money on this, or like, a lot of people are pulling out of E3. What do we do to change that? Let's open it up to everybody. And then they didn't really consider all of the different variables and stuff.
Yeah, it seems very much like an experiment. And last year,
or a last ditch effort.
Yeah, and like last year, it seemed like last year was good because tickets sold out right away. Because first year, people didn't know if it's gonna people didn't know if it was gonna happen again.
Yeah.
Luckily, it did, but like people didn't know it was gonna happen again. And then they were like, "Oh yeah, let's just like treat it the same as we do everyone else, and let's let them all in at the same time." And then it turns out that it was a bad thing, for the industry folks, and they complained, and then they're like, all right, now let's treat them like shit because they're gonna buy the tickets anyway if we release to the public again. And but initially that whole the 2 hours, dude, my back was hurting, like there were no places to sit, and I was standing in the same spot. I don't know how people do that, man. I can't do that. Like I can't wait in the same spot for hours upon hours upon hours, just waiting for to happen. Like I think like 1 hour is like my max, and then I'm like, all right, I'm done. Like I can't. But yeah,
it's not ideal.
No, but so far not great. But that's just, I mean, it's just that aspect of it. But because last year it wasn't the case. But but as far as the actual show floor, man, it's been fucking bananas. I've been
dope.
I've been taking pictures and videos, and I got hands-on with some stuff. And again, I'll explain in more detail next time. But I know we got to talk about the conferences, man.
All the big information.
Yeah, there was a lot of information that was being shared.
Oh, and yes.
I can offer some commentary, some hands-on commentary on some of the things. But yeah, it's so far it's been a hell of a show.
Perfect.
And on the inside.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you for that brief report right from the source. The story is developing. We'll check in next week for the full report. But
live.
Live asterisk at the end right there. But yeah, this is, of course, the big E3 episode. E3 is happening right now. We have all the press conferences behind us, so why don't we go in and delve into what the hell happened at these press conferences?
Yeah.
We're going to give a brief rundown of what's happened so far. Going to stick with like chronological order of when these press conferences went down. So I'm going to start it off. I'm pretty much going to run down everything. But we're going to start off with EA this year. They started like pretty much super early, like day -2 or something for E3 Saturday. Or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many of these press conferences you saw, Frank, but I didn't really love EA.
I was I saw the EA press conference. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they were the worst. Like they didn't really show anything.
Exactly.
Anything. They didn't show anything.
Period.
Relevant.
They did a lot of talking about their games, but they didn't show very much of what they were talking about.
And I understand it's not a competition. It's a competition in spirit, but it's not a real competition. But like they did not do a good show. Like it's like no one cares anymore. Like not even them, about their products. And I was just like, what the hell is all this?
Yeah, like ideally these things should be getting people like us, gamers that want to be excited about stuff, excited about things, and they didn't really do that this year.
Yeah.
But again, let's give a brief overview of what happened at EA. They started off with some like weird AR Anthem thing where like some monsters from the Anthem game were like popping out of the screen, and I was like, "What the hell is that about?" And then they quickly moved on from there.
Quickly,
and, yeah. And they showed off like some teaser trailer or something for Battlefield 5 or Battlefield V. I forget how that's pronounced.
Mhm.
But they didn't show much. But they were talking about War Stories, which is, I assume, that like a short story model that they did for the Battlefield 1 game, where like each the campaign was, I guess, split up into like little story vignettes. So I assume they're doing the same thing here with the new Battlefield. And they announced that Battlefield 5 is getting Battle Royale because everybody wants that Royale treatment. Just the 500 people go onto one place and one comes out alive. That's the thing.
That's where it was. I was reading something before the conference, or was it during the conference maybe? But like I was reading something like, oh yeah, it's going to be this battle royale and that battle royale and this battle royale, and then it was something like stupid like Madden battle royale or something.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely the year of battle royale jokes, and it's starting to get old now, but it's still so fucking true though. Like everyone's coming out with a battle royale game or slapping battle royale to whatever they have.
It's the fad right now. It's the trend right now.
But besides that, Battlefield 5 went off stage, and then they were replaced by FIFA people, and again they were talking a lot about FIFA, not really showing much about FIFA.
Not much at all.
Yeah, but they were talking about that I think they're introducing the UEFA Championship League in the game, and they have updated FIFA 18, which is, I guess, last year's game, with some World Cup stuff. That's a free update, and I believe FIFA 18 is also available as a free trial now. I don't know how long that lasts, but that's what they announced. And then they showed some like a quick thing about some cloud gaming initiatives that they're having. Basically, the PlayStation Now equivalent where you can stream games on any device that you have. I don't think they mentioned anything concrete about that other than, hey, it's in the works, and I think they mentioned that it's you can demo it at E3. I don't know if that's open to the public or just for like select press or something, but they are working on it. It's not ready for prime time yet, but that's another thing that they're working on. Then the weird thing, this was probably the weirdest thing out of this whole conference, is that they then tossed over to Vince Zampella, who is the head of Respawn, who did the Titanfall games, and of course, like every other EA studio, they're working on a Star Wars game. So again, just talking about it, not showing anything. They talk to Vince, and then he drops the name of the game, which is Jedi Fallen Order, and he tells us that it's going to drop on holiday 2019. And that's like literally all the information we got. We don't get a teaser. We don't even get a fucking logo. It's just him just saying the name of the game and maybe some other minor details like, hey, you get a lightsaber. It's in this era of, Star Wars, which I'm not familiar with. But yeah, that was just, I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Yeah, that was, I just, again, it was something I was just like, okay, moving along. Because that was definitely not a way to get people excited for a project that you have coming up, by just saying what it is and saying like, hey, this is something that you might like, but you have to wait a whole 18 months.
Or a whole 12 months to at least see something like a trailer or something, because I'm sure. Yeah. Which is weird because like.
They showed something.
Yeah. Because, like, even with, like, I think with Mass Effect Andromeda was, like, super early in development, they didn't have, like, a teaser or anything, but they at least showed people in the office working on the game, but they didn't even do that for this. I'm like, oh, okay, just no effort, zero effort on this. Okay, whatever. But then, again, more talking about stuff. They brought on one of the people from the Battlefront 2 team, talk about a bunch of updates that's going on. I think the big announcement was that they're going to start doing Clone Wars stuff, and people were excited for whatever reason. But, all the old favorite characters like General Grievous and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Count Dooku and that era of Anakin Skywalker is eventually going to be in that game. Then they announced Unravel 2, which is that sequel to that like indie game that I think they debuted at, if not last year, then the year before at E3.
Yeah.
So Yarny is back, and it's a 2 characters on screen at the same time, but you can play either single player or co-op, couch co-op, I assume. And yeah, it seems like it's more of that. That game seemed all right, but it maybe wasn't the greatest game in the world. But
right.
It's an indie game. It kind of, yeah. They at least for their credit, they showed a lot of gameplay of that game, which is more than a lot of other things that we've seen so far from the EA. Then they brought up some other indie developer that's also under the EA Originals label, talking about this new game called Sea of Solitude, where they brought on, I think, the writer. She was the writer of the game, and she was basically telling a little bit of the story of how or why she made the game, and then eventually showed a trailer of it, which kind of looks interesting. I'm curious about the game, but again,
of all the games plus one other that we're obviously going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that game didn't look bad. Like, it looked interesting enough that my attention was piqued when I watched it. So
yeah, I felt the same. Yeah, especially, I don't know, the subject matter is kind of interesting too, because it's, solitude and loneliness, and she was talking about how she was like at the loneliest part of her life when she wrote it, and I was like, okay, this is kind of an interesting topic for a video game. So I'm intrigued. I don't know when it comes out, but I'll be looking out for it when it does. Hopefully, it meets up to some expectations.
Yeah.
Then they showed a trailer for NBA Live 19.
All right.
That's it. Yep. Then Madden logo appeared on the screen, and
obviously
they didn't show anything about Madden. But what they did instead is they talked. I think they had a trailer about some of their like esports stuff for Madden, like the competitive aspect of it, and they had one. Oh god, I can't remember the dude's name, but he was a Pittsburgh Steelers player, and he brought on and he came up with one of the I think the champion of the Madden. I don't know what they call it, their version of their pro league, and they had a brief kind of back and forth on stage, and man, that esports guy, he's not great at talking in front of a crowd, which
definitely
made that whole thing worse. I was like, oh man, this is awful. Why are you doing this?
Stop it. Yeah, just stop it now. Just end this.
Yeah. And then we went off stage and, went on with their lives.
Yeah. But then that also brings me to another really, really horrible part of the conference, but I don't know if you're going to get to that now or a little later. But yeah.
Probably, if it's what I'm thinking of, it's probably the next thing.
Oh, okay. Was.
Then they led into they brought on some shoutcaster, and I think somebody from the game development team for this next game, which they didn't announce until after this whole thing happened, but they brought on some like competitive players, and they played a mobile game in front of the entire crowd. That lasted, I don't know, for about 5 to 10 minutes. I actually skipped forward this.
That lasted too long, Alex. I watched it live. That was too long.
I thankfully did not get to watch it live because I was in the middle of a Destiny 2 raid, so I had to go back and watch the video, and I immediately skipped past this whole thing because this is of no interest of me.
Good. Dude, it was like, I'm not knocking any fans of RTS games, but that is not, you do not, RTS games are very, very, they take long. They take a very long time, even in this mobile fashion where it's kind of like, compressed and it's sped up a little bit so that, you finish games faster than normal in an RTS game. But Alex, that is not a fucking game that you fucking watch people play at a press conference where you're trying to like get people excited about the games that you're announcing or the games that you have coming up. Dude, that was horrible.
You would think they would have learned because they pulled this same exact shit last year, but with Battlefront 2. But
Right.
they were doing the whole esports thing and like shoutcasting it and everything and trying to make it exciting when it really
And it
wasn't,
really
especially.
was not. It was not exciting. It was the God.
Yep. Like, I think for esports, you have to have like some connection to like what is actually going on in the game, and because
Right.
every video game is different, you have to. It's hard to do that, or it's not really a thing you should be doing in this kind of setting. It doesn't work. Like people just want to see like the new stuff and then move on to the next thing, and now you're spending so much goddamn time on this thing that no one has any connection to.
Interest. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just bizarre. But yeah,
it was horrible, dude. I was just like watching it live. I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know, they were trying to, and the funniest thing is too, was like right before they started the match, it's like even when they called the sportscaster out and one of the developers out, like no one clapped. Like the only person that clapped was the other guy that was introduced. It was really bad, dude. Like no one clapped, and I'm like, oh. And even when they introduced the players, the only person that clapped were the people on stage, and I'm like, oh.
Right. Yeah.
It's awkward.
Mm-hmm. That's the word I would use. But yeah, after a riveting game of this RTS, they revealed that hey, they played a game called Command and Conquer Rivals, and more groaning ensued. Maybe not in the room exactly, but definitely anybody watching that stream like, oh man, you're taking the Command and Conquer franchise and you're doing this to it, and why?
Yeah.
Oh god. But they say that it is coming out to iOS and Android sometime soon, but they did mention it is out in pre-alpha on Android right now. So if you are so inclined, you can do that and go to the Google Play Store and look that up and check it out. Yeah. But then the end of the show came and they brought what they needed to, which everyone was hoping for, and they talked a bunch about Anthem.
Sure.
And God, they're going about everything wrong, I feel like. But the first thing they do is they bring out a bunch of the developers behind the game and have this like the fakest Q&A session ever, because it is completely obvious that all of this is rehearsed.
Yeah.
They know exactly what questions they're going to get. They know exactly how they're going to answer them.
There were filler words. There were
Nope.
no filler words. It was like they were reading from a script or memorized the script. Like it was it was very unnatural.
The presentation behind them synced up with whatever they were talking about perfectly. It was
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they went through the motions anyway, and they talked about the game, gave a little bit more information, and eventually showed a pretty decent gameplay clip of the new game. But I mean, so far as the game, just the game itself, I'm digging the look so far. I like what they're doing. I just want to play it, and thankfully they dropped a release date, which is going to be in February of 2019. So it's not like we have to wait super long for the game. It looks real good. Yes. It seems to play good so far. I don't know. Do you know if it is playable on the show floor at E3?
No. Well, you know what? I have to double check with you because again, it seems like I felt like there was a lot more happening, and I didn't quite find the EA booth. Like I didn't look for it because I was just kind of wandering today. You know, kind of just like seeing whatever caught my eye. But I didn't encounter the EA booth. I basically encountered everyone else. Well, I didn't encounter EA or Microsoft or Xbox.
Well, they might not be at E3 proper. They might be maybe around.
Yeah, they might be at the house or the LA Live Theater. Okay, so maybe I should probably go there because I really want to play.
Yeah, because I know some YouTubers that I follow have played Anthem, and they showed some video of it, but I don't know if that's open to everybody.
It probably is playable. It probably is playable. Well, maybe not.
I don't know. That it might be a behind the closed doors kind of situation, but I would hope that it's out there.
I don't know. Maybe it is. Because there's quite a few games that we're gonna talk about a little later that I also thought the same. I also thought it was like behind the closed doors sort of deal. But I mean, this is technically as behind closed doors as it gets now. But it's just now the public can be there at the same time to have all these people play these games. So there have been games that I've gotten hands on that I thought were going to be closed, like, you know, to just like folks.
Okay.
So while I've been there this year, today. So
yeah.
but yeah, it's so it's very possible. I'll definitely get back with you on that.
Okay.
I'm sure the line is like 5 hours long, but still.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Anthem looks great, dude. Like I saw it and I'm like, holy shit. And I'm like, you can do what? I'm like, you can do what? I'm like, that? I'm like, are you serious? And I'm like, infinite fuel and jetpacks and stuff like that. I'm like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks real dope. I can totally see it like taking over for me. Like I can drop Destiny for Anthem.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
I think so. Yeah. That's something I was gonna ask you. I'm like, people have been touting this as the Destiny killer, and I don't know. I'm like, I'm not sure. Do you agree with that, or do you at least see that it might be the case?
I disagree because I've said it before. Destiny 2 is the Destiny killer because they fucked that game up so much. It killed all interest in Destiny whatsoever.
Well, yeah, Anthem looks dope though, man. I was like, whoa, I was like, what? I'm like, shit. I'm like, yeah, I'm excited for.
There were some things that they were saying in that like Q&A session that it felt, at least from my eyes, it felt like it was almost digs at Destiny. Like, hey, we're not going to do this game this way. And I'm like, oh shit, shots fired.
Yep.
But yeah, at least they're taking lessons from what other games are doing. But yeah, so far it seems okay. Hopefully nothing bad comes out of this game. It's closer to release, but again, I'm ever the skeptic, so I'll be keeping an eye on this game just to make sure, you know, it is 100% safe to dive in, because I don't want to be disappointed again.
Yeah. Hopefully it turns out well.
Yeah. But yeah, like other than that, that's pretty much EA. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on what they did.
No, dude. I like I said, I watched it live, and I'm pretty sure that, like most people, I was just underwhelmed. I was just nonplussed about it all.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, Anthem, you know, great. They closed. Anthem looked fantastic. It was proper that they closed the show with that game. That was their biggest. But everything else, with the exception of maybe Sea of Solitude, I was just like, you know, the hands up emoji.
Yeah, you know? Just the way they presented everything was terrible.
Yeah, it was not a good show. Not a well put together show. That was not the way to start off the conferences. Well, it was probably a good way to start off the conferences, because it could only get better from there, right? So.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. But the next one up we have is Microsoft. They had their conference.
The big boys.
Yep. And they had a lot to prove, and I think they proved some of it. But they started, they started off the show with some Halo Infinite. I think they just came out with a teaser trailer of sorts. It didn't seem like it was Halo at first, which you could probably say about any other Halo teaser. But yeah, a lot of like CG animals running around in this sort of jungle environment. I was like, yo, are they doing a Lion King? This is crazy. What's happening here? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's a super hard swing. I'm like, what?
Yeah. And then I forget what came first, if it was the helmet or whatever. But then eventually it's like, oh, yeah, this Halo. That's the Master Chiefs. And I was a little disappointed. But yeah, I don't know. They didn't really show much. They showed like a warthog kind of going down the grass, and very reminiscent of the first Halo. So I don't know if this is kind of them going back to their roots in a way. But yeah, like if assuming that trailer was all like CG, like in engine or whatever, that shit looked really good.
Yeah, it did.
But yeah, just no gameplay, unfortunately, it being a teaser and all. But they did mention that they heard people's feedback on the last Halo game, and they're like, okay, this is going to be focused mainly, if not completely, on Master Chief. So no other characters that you play as in the new Halo. So that's good. But yeah, Halo Infinite is coming eventually. I don't remember when that is. Then I know Frank got very excited for the next game because they showed off a little bit more of Ori 2, Will of the Wisps.
Yes. Oh
Talk
my
to me
god,
about.
dude. So one of the first things I wanted to do when I got here was to see if that game was hands-on. Like, but again, I couldn't find Xbox.
Microsoft. Yeah.
Yeah, so but when I saw that, I'm like, yes. I'm like, this means it's getting closer. You saw like a myriad of new abilities that Ori was able to get,
Yeah.
and on top of that, like it seems like the story is a little more developed now because you have this little baby owl, and it seems like you have to return the owl to, I guess, the wisps, the will of the wisps.
Okay.
And it's like the I don't know, man, the sense of the new abilities, the graphics. I'm just excited about all of it, and I'm just excited about that sense of adventure that's going to be back. And that's why I've been playing Ori and the Blind Forest again, just to like steel myself.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it didn't. I don't remember if they showed a release date or release period for it. I don't think they did,
Yeah, I
but
don't remember either.
I just have to say that was a way that was definitely. I'm glad that they at least paid enough attention to the game to realize like, hey, this is an exclusive that we have. You
Yeah.
know, let's dive right in to that. And I'm like, yo, I was like, yo, I was fucking hype. I was like, yo, I'm like, did you see what Ori just did? And fucking spinning on the wheel and the homing at the new type of homing attack. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So
Yeah.
I was excited, man.
Yeah, I was surprised they somehow made that game look better. I was like, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, you're gonna
Uh,
cry again. You're gonna do it. You're
yup.
gonna cry again in the beginning. I know it. You're gonna do it.
I don't know if they can pull that trick off again. That seems a little too on the nose, but
It's a high bar, definitely.
yeah.
For sure.
According to what I have here, it is, I think, going to come out sometime in 2019, unfortunately.
Okay.
So we will have some waiting to do,
go.
but hopefully not too
Let's
long.
go January.
Yep.
Let's go January or February. A lot of good games coming out in that month.
Yep. Then after that, we got, I think, the beginning of, I think, this year's trend at E3, which is samurai games. But From Software has a samurai-ass game called Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. And my God, that looks fucking dope. Holy shit.
Yo, that looks dope. And I can tell you by seeing it being played, because again, the line for that was like stupid.
Yeah.
After seeing it play, it plays amazingly. Like I can tell like it's going to be something great. And I'm like, this is amazing. This looks so good. It's like Samurai Dark Souls, you know? And
yeah.
I have to say though, I could have sworn I thought it was Tenshu.
Yeah.
I thought it
Yeah.
was Tenshu. Like there were a lot of things about it that I'm like, yo, this is Tenshu. It's back. Like like from the symbolism to some of the things like the grappling hook thing that that and I was just like, yo, Tenshu's back. I can't believe this. I'm so excited. Then it's like Sekiro, and I'm like, oh. I'm like, but that's fine.
Yep.
You know, I'm like, that's fine. No Tenshu this time, but I'm like, this game looks really good. Looks
Maybe
really,
not
really
Tenshu
good.
in name, but Tenshu in spirit.
In spirit. Yeah, it looks really, really good.
It looks dope. Yeah, I've never been like super into like the Dark Souls games or even like the Bloodborne or anything like that. But I don't know. Something about this is doing it for me. I don't know if it's just because it's slightly bigger in scope. I want to say I saw some like horse riding and some other things like that, but it looks really cool. I'm kind of interested right now.
Yeah, me too. And I'm the same as you. I wasn't like a super big fan of Dark Souls, but I've played them.
Yeah.
And yeah, this looks to be just really good. Something about it drew me to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just mainly the setting and, you know, the atmosphere and all that. It's doing it for me so far. Then we got a brief couple of trailers for Fallout. Well, first they announced that Fallout 4 is coming, or is now available on the Xbox Live Games Pass. So it's like their little monthly subscription where you can get access to a bunch of games for $10 a month. So that's happening. But they also showed a new, I don't know if I forget it was new or if it's the same kind of old trailer that has been going around already, but the Fallout 76 trailer was also shown at the Microsoft show floor. Not too much to say there, but next up, we have the next Don't Nod thing that is in the universe of Life is Strange.
Yes.
So my understanding is that this is, I think, supposed to be like a lead up to Life is Strange 2. But the name of the game is The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. It focuses around a kid who dresses up as a superhero and has like superhero-like powers, at least in his imagination, and some of that is, in the game, you're kind of imagining those abilities. So, I don't know, it seemed like a weird departure from, that sort of thing, but I'm curious how it all ties together. I don't know if you have any clues as to what this all means for life, or what the connective tissue is there between the games.
So at first when I saw it, I didn't realize it was a sort of prequel to the second Life is Strange that's coming. But even still, I agree with you. It's sort of. I'm not going to say strange. I'm going to say it's different. They're
unexpected.
Yeah, it's very. Yeah, just different is the word that I want to use here, because it's all about like a child in their imagination, and where Life is Strange, it deals with like these angsty teenagers. One has powers, and the other one is just a psycho. but at the same time, it's I don't know. It's just it seems different enough to be sort of interesting, but I don't know. Maybe it's not necessarily for me personally, because it's all about like exploring your imagination, and all these things happen. You have these superhero powers, and I'm sure it's like a game that seems like it's for like families or like parents.
I'm sure there's like a bigger story to it.
I'm sure there is. I didn't see it. I didn't see it there. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be picking this up, but I'm hoping that when the game does drop, that there's more to it. Because of it being a lead up to the second Life is.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this is like a one-off thing or if this is going to be like its own episodic thing. Like there's going to be a number of episodes tied to this thing or not. But that is down the pike. So look forward to that. Other than that, they showed off a little bit more of that Crackdown 3 with like 300% more Terry Crews. But yeah, they showed off the trailer for that. I don't know, the game, like it looks like it could be fun, but like the graphics look like it was like last generation game, if that, because I don't know, it just looks all blurry.
I don't know if they're doing that on purpose, but I agree with that as well. That it looks okay, I guess. The gameplay, it seems like the gameplay, they're really trying to make it that the gameplay shines over the aesthetics.
Yeah, because the aesthetics aren't doing much as they are right now, and they've been talking about this game for a while now, and it's a shame it doesn't look better, especially since it's Microsoft first party and all that.
Right, and that's another thing. Like they've been talking about this game forever. I think people who are excited about it are less excited about it now, because it's just been about like teaser upon teaser upon teaser, and there's no actual like anything about it. No actual, like, people don't really have hands on with it. Well, again, I don't know for sure. I'll get back about that. when I go to that Xbox booth tomorrow. But
it's at least getting closer. But yeah, they're showing off more, and actually they did give at least a time frame for the game, and it's February 2019, which seems like a very popular month for a lot of these games announced at E3. After that, we got a brief trailer of that Nier Automata, which is finally coming to Xbox. And they're basically getting a special edition which bundles all the existing DLC for that game for Xbox. They showed off some more Metro Exodus, another trailer for that. That game continues to look really good, but me personally, I don't think I'd be into the Metro games, but what they've shown so far looks like pretty fucking good, at least graphically and some of the gameplay too.
Yep, right there with you. It looks great. It's just not for So
Yeah. They showed off a Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer, which I think, again, is the same one that's been going around.
yeah.
And it's coming to the Xbox, which I think was a surprise. I don't remember if that was
No,
announced or not. But
no, that was announced. That was announced like years ago,
uh-huh.
When it was still like in development, and with the whole patient and stuff. But yeah, it was supposed to come out like on everything.
Right. Okay.
And Xbox One was a big thing too, because people made a big deal about that, because like, what, it's only been out on PlayStation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they showed that same trailer, and they, right before all these conferences started, they actually announced the release date for Arts. So that's good. And I myself have been trying today to get hands on with Kingdom Hearts, because there is a hands-on demo of Kingdom Hearts at E3,
Uh-huh.
and like the longest line ever, I think.
Yeah.
The wait time towards the end of the conference was still 2 hours.
Jeez.
So for
Wow.
today,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm gonna I'm gonna see like how I'm gonna plan this. Maybe tomorrow. I think the first thing I want to do is go straight to the Square-Enix booth and
Mm-hmm.
see, and just wait online for it. Fuck it. But because I'm sure the demo itself is pretty long, it being a 30-hour RPG and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. No, it's coming out in January 2019. So that's cool. It's almost over. The wait is almost over.
yeah. I mean, we've been waiting for 14 years for this.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in '05. We've been waiting a long time. So,
Oh, actually, how did you react to the whole Aqua thing at the end of that trailer?
dude, that was crazy, because if you follow Kingdom Hearts, just basically Aqua has been in the realm of darkness for a long time.
Okay.
Maybe like hundreds of years. But
That's a long time.
time in there passes, differently. But the thing is, like, she's a master. She was actually crowned a master of the Keyblade, and she sacrificed herself to go into the realm of darkness to save her friends, and she's been in there alone fighting for so long. I saw that, and I'm like, you know what? This is crazy, but who would it not happen to?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
people, like everyone around her forgot about her. Like no one came to save her, and she's finally out. She just gave in. So I thought it was really, really cool.
Okay.
So yeah,
Cool.
I'm excited to see the developments of that, because if she's truly gone, then she's gonna be a fucking threat. Because Aqua's pretty ridiculous. Like, she was like the protagonist for the 2.8 game, the
Right.
Kingdom Hearts 3 demo that came out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was really cool. I was like, oh shit! I'm like, Dark Aqua, this is gonna be a problem.
Yeah, everybody was fucking freaking out, and I had zero context. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. Why is everybody
Yeah,
freaking out? Oh
yeah.
well.
No, it's just that it's just a thing that, like, she's been lonely for hundreds of years. She's been, and the only contact with anyone that she has down there is fighting Heartless, just
Yeah.
constantly fighting Heartless over and over and over and over and over and over again. And she, and the reason for her being down there again is she just gave in. She gave up. Like,
Okay.
it's anyone would, especially
Yeah.
for that long of a time. So
Oh well. Again, yeah, that's coming January 2019 for Kingdom Hearts 3. The wait is finally over. Eventually, they
one.
showed off. They showed off a brief trailer of some new Sea of Thieves content, so they're still expanding that game out. They showed a Battlefield 5 teaser, I think teasing some of the new War Story stuff, but which was different from what they showed at EA, but still not much to go off of. They announced Forza Horizon 4, and they talked a little bit about that. That game looks really cool. I think
Yeah,
one of
it
the big
does.
things about it is they're introducing seasons to the game. and
Right.
which seems interesting. They're saying like the way I guess the driving handles is going to be different for each season. Obviously, most dramatically in winter because of the snow and the ice. And one of the examples they gave is that a particular lake in the area will freeze over in the winter, and you can get to previously inaccessible areas, which seems like a cool idea. This wasn't explained at the conference, but I did later find out that everybody's going to experience the seasons at the same time, and the seasons cycle weekly. So I don't know. It seems like a cool kind of like in-game sort of like thing that everyone is part of the same world and gets to see the same thing. So that's kind of cool that they're doing it that way. But yeah, I don't know. Forza Horizon 4. Yeah, they've been doing really good things with that franchise so far. So it's good that's continuing.
It's also one of Microsoft's things like their exclusives or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been man. They have like a concept car at this show right now.
Oh yeah,
dude, it looks fucking. Oh my god, like it looks amazing. Like I took several pictures of that car. Like, it looks so good. But yeah,
that's crazy.
It was a Forza concept car. But I think they
Oh
built
wow,
specifically. Yeah, I think they built it specifically just to show on the show floor here.
that's nuts.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks really awesome, dude. I'll share the pictures with you.
Cool. Then probably one of the bigger announcements from this conference from Microsoft is that they said that they're gobbling up some development studios because they need some more first-party content. Yeah. The developers, the studios that they're grabbing are The Initiative, I think, which is something that they created in-house. I don't know if that's... I think that's brand new. But then they also are bringing on board Undead Labs, Playground Games, Ninja Theory, which I kind of flipped out about, and Compulsion Games. They are all now under the Microsoft umbrella. I was a little disappointed about the Ninja Theory thing because they seemed like they had a good thing going with like going independent with Hellblade specifically. But they actually posted a YouTube video on their channel kind of explaining why they agreed to go with Microsoft, and basically just giving them, the funds and the resources that they need to kind of just go straight into, making the games they want without having to struggle through, independence and all that. So hopefully they get to make the things that they want to do. And Microsoft seems to be on board with giving these studios the creative leash to do whatever they want and explore different game ideas, which is, again, something they sorely need in their lineup.
Yep.
Then they showed a PUBG trailer for some reason. I guess because it's still technically a Microsoft exclusive, but they didn't really show anything super new to PUBG. I know, they kind of teased the snow map, but that's been a known thing for a while now. Then anime happened. Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition is coming to Xbox.
Yeah.
They showed off some of that Division 2. And that game is coming, and it's taking place in Washington, D.C., so we're leaving New York City behind, but pretty much looks like The Division.
I just wanted to say about The Division that I was watching that live. It looks good, but I've been fooled before because the Division trailer that they showed for the first game looked really good, and that trailer alone spurred me to buy the game. And that was a mistake. So I am reserving any kind of judgment until any are worked out, and if the reviews are good enough, then I might pick up the. But it looked really good, like the team aspect of it, but I don't know. I've just been burned before.
Yeah, but for what it's worth, I did hear that they were doing good by the community with the first division because they had been updating the game since it kind of came out, and I think one of their last patches kind of brought in a lot of things that the community wanted. So it seems like that game is in a good spot. Hopefully we don't get Destiny 2'd and they just throw out all the good stuff that they made in that game.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, but so far, it looks cool from a technical perspective and from what little we've seen so far. Then, for some reason, they were talking about some fast start technology for their Game Pass games, which I don't really comprehend because they said that they were doing like some sort of cloud technology to make the games start faster. But I don't know if this is specifically for Game Pass, and I don't know why that would make those games load faster since you have to install them anyway. I don't understand what that whole thing was about. They didn't do a great job explaining that. Then after that, they showed kind of a montage of indie games that went by. They showed off some of that Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is coming. They showed off a skateboarding game called Session, which I and probably a lot of other people thought it was going to be Skate 4, but that was not the case.
So can you answer me a question on that? Like, so I was watching this live, right? And I was watching the Twitch stream of it. And everyone on the fucking chat, like, even though I try hard not to pay attention to the chat, but everyone on the chat, like, every single fucking game that was being released, they were like, "Oh, Skate 4, Skate 4, Skate 4," and I'm like, why are people so excited about Skate? Like, I understand that like Skate was a really good game, and they had 3 of them, but like people were like super fucking like stoked for Skate 4. And when Sessions came up, people were like, Skate 4! Skate 4! And then it said Sessions. And I'm like, oh! Yeah. Like everyone got rope-a-doped.
Yep.
So, yeah, like, so can you explain to me, like, was it just because Skate was a really great franchise?
I think it's
so excited?
It's partly that. Yeah, Skate was really good. It has this fan base, but then I think eventually Skate 4 just became a meme at one point.
Okay.
Because I know for a while, and probably still to this day, like I think like anything, like literally anything that was posted on the EA like Instagram, people would just comment #Skate 4. Like no matter what the fucking post was about, it was just #Skate 4 because they want Skate 4. And I think from then on it just became a meme at some point, and that's what that's all about.
So that makes a lot of sense because, dude, every fucking game, even after the game was announced, like people would be like, "All right, Skate 4," like, "All right, cool, Skate 4 is coming out," and I'm like, "What? What are you saying?" But yeah, it's people were like, like everything, Skate 4, Skate 4, Skate 4, and then when Sessions, people were like, Skate 4, and I'm like, "All right, finally, Skate 4," and then they were like, "Nope, Session." People were like,
psych.
Oh. Psych. Not this time. Maybe next year.
But that game had a super unique approach to the skateboarding genre, so I understand why people want another skate game. But yeah, other than that, they showed off some stuff. I think the big thing is Devil May Cry 5 happened at Microsoft.
Dude.
I'm going to cede the floor to you because I have no idea what the hell is going on in this game.
Well,
the one thing I will say is that it sort of looks like a mishmash of like
DMC and Devil May Cry 4.
Yeah, the standard Devil May Cry series with like the new DMC Ninja Theory style game.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it looks like. I guess for some context to Devil May Cry, for those who don't know, is that so the last proper Devil May Cry game, Devil May Cry 4, the number title, I should say. Featured a new main character. His name is Nero, and that is the main character in this game now. You can tell by his signature blue jacket, short haircut, and the arm. So in the 4th game, he had this arm called the Devil Bringer. They didn't really explain where it's from, but it just allowed him to do really cool shit and platform in different ways that they just like threw into the game without real direction or context. But in this new game, it turns out that he lost that arm, and it seems like Nero has a relationship to Virgil, Dante's twin brother, and people are saying like that's Nero's son. It's just probably pretty possible. In any case, in the trailer, you see a hooded figure, slice off Nero's arm, his Doublebringer arm, and so now Nero, I guess he's teaming up with this like tech girl of some sort, like I guess the one who's like his weapon supplier, and
Mm-hmm.
she basically gave him a metal arm, which allows him to do very similar Devil Bringer stuff, but with new enhancements because it's tech. And it it looked very much like Devil. Like you are exactly right, Alex. That was a very correct assumption. It looks very much like the DMC4 mixed with the DMC reboot that Ninja Theory did. Just
Yeah.
from the feel of it, like you could tell, like it was just like it's a lot more edgy. And it seems like Nero is actually younger for some reason. I don't know. Like he seems just like more teenager ish in this one, more brash than he was in 4.
Okay.
And but I will say about the gameplay, it looks dope. It looks fucking sick. Like I am super excited for Devil May Cry. Anything Devil May Cry, I'm on board. And it's the same director as 3 and 4. So
Okay.
I liked both of those games, so I'm excited about this one as well. So and of course you see a cameo by Dante in the at the end. And
Right. Uh-huh.
yeah, it looks great, man. I'm excited. I really wish Kamiya like had some involvement with the Devil May Cry games past the first one,
Uh-huh.
you can't win them all. And I mean,
Nope.
even he said he took Bayonetta. He took a lot from Devil May Cry 4 and put that into Bayonetta, and he just improved upon it. So you know, but it
Okay.
is what it is. I'm very excited for DMC5. It was kind of weird that they brought out Itsuno, the director, to kind of like talk about it after the fact, and it was just like really weird with the Capcom guy and Itsuno just kind of like struggling to speak to each other,
Oh.
and it was kind of weird. But DMC5 looks great, and of course, day one for me.
Yep. Then they showed off a trailer for some new Cuphead stuff.
DLC, yeah.
I'm assuming it's DLC. Yeah, it's called The Delicious Last Course.
Yeah, I think it's basically one new level with more boss battles in that level.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. But yeah, that game seems dope. It's getting new dope content. That's great. Then they showed off a trailer for a game called Tunic, which everyone's going crazy about because it looks like a cute ass fox in the Legend of Zelda. The
Pretty much.
it really just looks like that fox is wearing the outfit from Link to the Past.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but yeah, it looks like this crazy like 3D almost toy-like world, voxely. It's got a great art style to it, but yeah, very much looks like a Zelda game. Then some more anime happened. Jump Force was announced, which is basically a Shonen Jump fighting game with pretty much all the different anime characters going at it.
Yo, like they're going hard with anime games now.
Yep.
So I didn't play it because the line for that was like the line for that wasn't crazy long, but I did get to see it being played like very close up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great at
Yeah.
all. It doesn't look like it runs really well, and I'm sure it's a
Oh.
very early build, but it doesn't
Okay.
look like it runs well.
I was going to comment on the art style. Didn't look great in the
Yeah,
trailer, but
that kind of sucks too.
Mhm.
That kind of sucks too, especially if you're used to Dragon Ball FighterZ. Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Like, use that art style. Like, make fighting games in that vein. Like, I understand Arc Systems Works have their own things that they're doing, but like, that's what you want a fucking like fighting game of that type to look like and be
Yeah,
like.
that's the bar. Yeah.
That is where it's at. And you have this Shonen Jump game. Yeah, I'm sure it's like, oh, people are like freaking out because like you have like all these Jump characters that are in the game together, but it's like, come on, it doesn't
Yeah.
look good, and it doesn't seem like it runs well either. From my personal viewing of the game, so
Mm.
yeah,
But it's
I'm
still
not that
early
excited
too.
about it. Yeah, it is early. But I'm still not that excited about it. I'm like, to me, if it doesn't look or play better than Dragon Ball,
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to look at it, man, because Dragon Ball Fighters is where it's at right now.
Yeah. We're probably not the audience. People who take like fighting games somewhat seriously, it's not for us. But
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that will play that game and will love that game. But yeah, that is coming. More anime. And they showed off a Dying Light 2 trailer. So that series is continuing as well. Also looks pretty crazy. Apparently Chris Avellone, I think, is writing that game. He's I think famous for doing a whole lot of like RPGs. He was at Obsidian for a while. I don't know what his status is now. I don't know if he's officially with the Dying Light studio or if he's just like consulting or something, but there's some cachet there for sure. They had the briefest of teasers for a new Battletoads game, which seems to have some like hand-drawn art style, but they did not show any of the Battletoads on screen. I think the most you saw was somebody's tongue come from off screen to lick something up, but yeah, that is in the works. They showed off a trailer for Just Cause 4, which I don't know if you saw this, Frank, but I don't know. The way they kind of framed it, it made it seem like Rico was going to face off against a tornado, and that just set off my fucking imagination. And I don't care what anyone says. Like, to me, Just Cause 4 is like a revenge story against this fucking tornado. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I want to murder that fucking tornado in this game.
Yeah, it very much seemed like a man versus nature sort of thing, but like in the most extreme circumstances. And I'm like, sure, like okay.
But I think they explain later. I think like one of the big things about the game is that they have this extreme weather system, and I think the tornado can come in and literally like tear buildings and stuff apart. So that'll be cool. But yeah, like that game is just ridiculous, open world fun, and I'm glad they're pushing the envelope with what you can do in that game. Then Mr. Rod Ferguson came out from the Coalition and with a big ass Gears logo behind him, and everyone got excited, like, yeah, more Gears. And then they show off this little teaser, and fucking Funko Pops show up. And I was like, no, why is this happening? This is terrible.
Yo, like, it threw everyone off. It threw everyone off, dude. I was just like, because you see that logo come up and you're like, oh shit, it's happening.
Yep.
I'm like, it's happening. Gears 5 here, let's go. Mm-hmm. And they fucking showed these fucking Funko Pop Gears, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I think I said that simultaneously with everyone on the internet. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, oh god, it was so bad.
I was just like, no. This cannot be the only Gears thing you show today. This is going to be a mistake.
I was a little salty about it, man. But
yeah,
they did show another Gears thing afterwards.
Yeah, but still, the Funko Pop thing is real. I think it's called Gears Pop. I don't know what kind of game it is, but you know it's coming. But yeah, there are other Gears games in the works, such as Gears Tactics, which is going to be a real-time strategy game. But then they also showed the real thing. They showed off some Gears 5, which they had a pretty substantial.
Like, okay, that's better.
Yeah, right. Like, whew. Finally, I can breathe now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they showed off, I think, a little bit of a little cutscene, I think, of some sort, and then they had like a little gameplay montage trailer sort of deal. So that game looks cool. It seems like Kate is going to be the protagonist for this game, so that's going to be interesting. JD looks fucked up. I'm like, what the fuck happened to that guy? Holy shit. Yeah, he's gone through some shit.
Yeah, no, that's good for him. Sucked.
Yeah, he did suck, but still, he went through some shit.
They were all pretty terrible. No, he did. They were all pretty terrible, and I just hate the fact, like, Kate was the most annoying, and now she's a character, and, you know, just because they're tying her to the Locust and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But spoilers for the last game. The last people who didn't play the last game. Sorry. How old is it? It's like 4 years old right now. Like that.
Is it that old? It doesn't feel that old.
2 years.
Maybe
old,
2. Maybe 2. Yeah.
But yeah. Gears 5. It does look great, and I've loved the gameplay of all of the Gears games. I just really didn't like 4 because of everything else.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like, at least from the gameplay that they did show in that trailer, it seems like there's a decent variety of things to do in that game. How well it's paced out, who knows? Yeah, Marcus is back. I don't know how big of a part he plays in the story, but he is there. And it's also interesting of note that Gears 5 is the actual title. It's not Gears of War 5. It's just
it's Gears 5.
Gears 5. And then the last major thing was that CD Projekt Red, the developer behind the Witcher series, they debuted the trailer for their next game called Cyberpunk 2077, which I didn't realize at the time, but it's something that they announced, I think, like 5 years ago. And now they have something to show of it, and it looks kind of crazy. It looks like this weird, almost like 80s inspired cyberpunk version of the future. It looks all kinds of crazy. They nailed the aesthetic, but some details have been coming out after the fact, and apparently it's going to be a first-person shooting RPG game where you can create your own character and all that. So there's a lot to this game that hasn't been shown yet, but yeah, you wouldn't have figured that out if you'd seen the trailer. I thought it was just going to be like a GTA style game.
I had no idea what it was right up to the very end. It could have literally been anything. I just noticed it was very very bright and colorful, and a lot of 80s music and aesthetic, and the way the people were dressed or whatever. But then they go to different locales in the city, and I'm like, well, this could be anything. I'm like, what is this? So so right up until they said Cyberpunk 2077, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, great, that's cool. It does look good though.
Yeah, it looks crazy.
Yeah, people were like, oh my god, it's I'm so excited, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, I guess people were, because people had like you alluded to, people were thinking about it from the announcement 5 years back, but nothing came of it until now.
Yeah. And again, they're probably fans of that developer, so they know they put out good stuff and are waiting very voraciously for the next thing. So that's cool. Other than that, that's pretty much Microsoft. I don't know if you had any other thoughts about the conference for that they had, but it seemed like they did overall a pretty good job.
They did do a pretty good job. I'm not gonna go so far as to say they did a great job. They had a briefing beginning before they announced all these games, and they're like, we're gonna announce 50 games, and 15 of them are exclusives, and 3 of them something, I don't know. They announced the company acquisition and stuff like that in their brief.
Mm-hmm.
They had some good showings, but I honestly think it was quantity over quality with this time around with them, because a lot of the stuff that they showed weren't really exclusive, and the exclusives that they did show, I'd say outside of Ori, Crackdown, Gears, and I think they really dropped the ball with Halo Infinite for some reason. I really thought they were going to bring out Halo 6, because I think they really need that game.
Yeah, they didn't show anything of that.
Yeah, and I thought Cyberpunk, the way Cyberpunk, the way they broke that whole thing down, they interrupted the conference way. I thought it was going to be Watch Dogs, actually. But then I'm like, oh, this is probably Halo 6, and so they're probably taking it in a different direction. But then I saw as the trailer kept going, I'm like, this is not Halo. I'm like, unless they're really taking a different direction with this. But in any case, a lot of the stuff that they showed that were of major interest, at least to me, Devil May Cry, Kingdom Hearts, I just think they just benefited with them being first out of the gate before some announcing games. But a lot of it was just it was really quantity over quality for me. But they did do a pretty good job, and they're really I could see they're trying. So, good on them. I just feel like they need to actually put out more quality over quantity next time. Maybe not concentrate on so many games and concentrate on on like heavy hitters, because that's what you want to do at a show like this where you only have so much time.
Yeah. Or just like new, unique experiences and stuff like that. Just stuff to make people want to buy an Xbox or give people a reason to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Microsoft. Yeah, I think they did a pretty good job, all things considered. But then we got Bethesda. They came on and they had a showing. They started off with Mr. Andrew WK rocking the show floor, doing what he does best and partying hard. And that pretty much led into Rage 2, which looks pretty cool. I don't know. It seemed interesting. But the one thing I will say, side note, is that they had the two people talking about Rage 2, which I think when they came on, I think I made some stupid snide comment about like, oh, look, it's Han and Chewie, because there was this really short guy and a really fucking tall guy, and he had like long hair and a beard and shit. And I was like, oh man, this is... But I don't know, they had a weird sort of like awkward conversation. I think like the tall guy was almost like pausing deliberately, waiting for applause that he was not getting. I was like, oh no, don't do that, please.
Yeah, his statements weren't landing.
Yeah, he eventually went to like putting out his arms, like basically begging for applause. But I was like,
come on, guys.
Oh, not now. Don't do it like this. But anyway,
it would have been bad if he actually started clapping himself. Then I was like, all right.
Yeah. That would have been the final nail in that coffin. But yeah, like what they showed of Rage 2 looks pretty cool. Yeah, that game looks like a lot of fun. Then they, my notes are terrible here. I have some like card game thing. I'm going to skip over a bunch of stuff because we're going long as it is already.
Yeah.
The next major thing that they announced, though, was basically the sequel to Doom 2016, and it's called Doom Eternal. They showed a little teaser, but basically hell has come to Earth and things have gotten way worse than they were in the first game. And they said that the full reveal of what Doom Eternal is going to happen at QuakeCon, which is happening in August this year.
Nice. And I am also going to mention Eternal is playable here at E3.
Wait, what's playable?
Doom Eternal.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's playable here at E3. I didn't check the line for it. I'm pretty sure it wasn't as long as like other games.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is I'm very much looking forward to it. It's gonna actually I'm going to actually play the first Doom. Like I have it, I just haven't played it yet. So I'm going to
I need to finish that game. I didn't get very far in it, but that game is hella fun.
Yeah, so I hear.
Yep. They gave some announcements for Prey, which is a game that's already out, but they said there's going to be a couple free updates. Actually, that is live now. There's a new game mode and other stuff, but new stuff is also coming down the pike in summer of this year. So Prey is getting stuff. Hooray. They announced their next Wolfenstein game, which I don't know if that's like, this is officially a sequel or some sort of like side story thing, but it's called Wolfenstein Youngblood, and it is starring B.J. Blazkowicz's twin daughters in like, I think the 1980s or something, in that alternate history timeline that they've got going on. So yeah, that's they're going in a different direction, and that's coming out in 2019. I think they just showed a teaser, not much in terms of gameplay or anything like that. Then Mr. Todd Howard himself came on stage and pretty much took over the rest of the show with everything that his studio is doing. And one of the first things that he does is be very self-aware about all the Skyrim stuff, and Skyrim being ported to basically everywhere.
Yeah.
And then they had this little, commercial that they put together about Skyrim being ported to the Alexa, where you could play Skyrim on your Alexa device just by talking to it as if it was like a choose your own adventure sort of thing. And I don't know if you saw that thing was pretty well done. It was starring Keegan-Michael Key from Key and Peele. And that was amazing. But I think the better part is that thing is actually real. You can actually play that on your Alexa and download it. And I'm like, wow, that they have fully committed to the bit. I appreciate everything that they're doing right now. That's amazing.
They are literally porting everything they possibly.
Yep. Yeah. Then the end of that commercial is just fantastic. If you haven't seen it, just go out, look it up on YouTube. It is really amazing. Yeah. Then they gave out some details on Fallout 76. So I think we get another little trailer, and a couple of other snippets about the game. Basically, confirming all the rumors that we talked about last week that it is going to be an online game. They said that you can build your own structures wherever you want. You're not limited to one specific area on the map. Although I don't know how that works online, because they said that you kind of share the world with other players, but I don't know how that works because you don't connect with everybody at the same time, I don't think. So I'm curious if your building will appear in someone else's game when they load in or something. So that's going to be interesting. They're talking about nukes in the game, but apparently, nukes are available in the game, and you can kind of nuke other people, which is kind of ridiculous. I don't know.
Yeah,
it seems like against.
Do that.
It seems like against the message of the Fallout games. I don't know. It's bizarre, but that's the thing you can do in the game. And then Fallout Shelter, they made an announcement that is now coming out, or is out now, for both PlayStation 4 and the Switch, and it is, of course, available for free. They teased their next game, which is a mobile game called Elder Scrolls Blades, which it seems like it's sort of like a 3D, you can move around the environment and do all that thing, but it is a mobile game, so seems a little bit limited. And then they kind of teased stuff for the future, which they said is next generation. So seems like that is happening. New hardware is happening eventually. But the first thing they announced was a new IP called Starfield, which again was the briefest of teasers. Just a very fancy looking space shot, and that was it.
Yep. Super vague.
Yeah. And they confirmed that they are working on the Elder Scrolls 6. Also, the briefest of teases, but again, it is happening, and is probably happening on next generation hardware. But that's Bethesda. That was for what they do. I think that was a pretty good showing for what they had.
Yeah, they were different in a way where it was like they were very informative about things that we kind of figured or knew about already.
Yeah.
And they just stuck to the point of, we know our strengths, and so this is what we're just kind of building to that. I think that's what they did a good job of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're pretty good at sticking to what they've got, and what they've got is pretty good. They've got a nice array of different types of games, so that's cool. The next thing I want to talk about is Devolver. They had another showcase of sorts, and they went all out. Did you happen to catch the new Devolver thing that they did this year?
No, actually, that was one of the conferences that I missed, because that was taking place as I was coming out here. So,
okay, cool. So I'll give a brief rundown of what happened. So it starts off with some new like CEO guy that came on the stage. He seemed like your typical, what you'd imagine of a Silicon Valley kind of douchebag. He was giving his spiel. He was going to announce a Battle Royale game, and then Nina Struthers, the lady from last year, sneaks up behind the guy and snaps his neck before he can make the announcement.
Oh, that's dope.
And then she takes over the fucking show, and it is as ridiculous as you remember last year's, but man, it is. They are doing great shit. I love this fucking thing. This is one of the main things I look forward to every E3. E3 now is this fucking conference of theirs. It is crazy. But yeah, they showed off some games, one of which is called Scum Season 2, which is some open world survival game. There's a game called My Friend Pedro, which looks really cool. It's kind of like a 2D side-scrolling thing where you basically it's some weird like balletic murder thing where you can shoot people, but you shoot them very gracefully and with style. It's it reminds me of the vibe I get from like the Kingsman movies where they're doing all these crazy violent shit, but they're really fucking cool at it
really
with like slow motion. Yeah. It looks like that, but like with silly looking characters. It's almost like if Gang Beasts was very graceful and stuff. What they were doing.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's that.
Gang Beasts.
Yeah. And they had some like little in between segments too with the conference. They they announced their cryptocurrency thing, which is called Lootbox Coin, which is not. Which they are actually selling for real.
Really?
I saw a story on Polygon where it was like the thing as the guy was writing the story, the price had been fluctuating, but as of now, you can buy a loot box coin for $250. That is ridiculous. It is not cryptocurrency. It is just a physical, like almost like 3D printed coin, and that is it. You get nothing else. It's worth nothing. They burned a man alive in that conference for
what? What the hell is happening?
He was one of those guys that was was correcting Nina for saying the word GIF because it's pronounced GIF according to him, and he went on the whole spiel about exactly. So he got burned alive for that, which I was like, yes, burn him up, burn him.
That sounds crazy.
Yes. And then they fake announced this Devolver Digital Entertainment System Classic, which was a spray-painted Sega Dreamcast.
Wow.
And then they kind of, it was funny because they teased it because like they had a guy kind of showing it off, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, this is just a painted Sega Dreamcast. This is not real. All the cables you have here are not plugged into anything." And he pulled out a disc from the Dreamcast, and it was like just some like blank CD or something that was burned. And he's like, "This is a copy of Metal Wolf Chaos, and this is not even this is not even an American game. This is not our game. It's not a Devolver game. It's not even real because it's not the actual game." And they beat him up, and then they announce.
That's awesome, man. This is man. I'm so sad I missed this. Oh,
you need to watch it. It is fucking bananas.
I will. Oh my god.
but then they actually announced that they're bringing Metal Wolf Chaos XD, which is the first time Metal Wolf Chaos is coming to the States, which is again bananas. That was basically the announcements from Devolver. The end of this was fantastic because I don't know if you remember from the last year's one, but they had a guy that went into the TV or something, or he lost his arm or something crazy happened.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, so he appeared at the end of this conference as everything was wrapping up, and he looked like basically Solid Snake or Big Boss from Metal Gear Solid 5. He wanted to get his revenge. He had this crazy beard and outfit, and he RoboCopped Nina Struthers on stage. Just all the bullets, all the squids were coming out, just a lot of blood.
What the fuck, dude? I have to watch this. Oh my god.
You do. And then they literally RoboCop her because they rebuild her. And they have the whole it's like a shot for shot sequence when they're like putting him when he's under, and you see the first person shots of him of like looking at people in the room, putting him together.
And all that stuff.
It's that's all in there.
Oh my god, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Devolver does great shit.
Like that kind of shit, man. Like that kind of shit right there is like dope. It brings levity. It brings levity to all like the competition, the obvious competition that's going on between all of these like developers and publishers.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. I love that. That's great. I have to go back and watch that. I will.
Yeah, you definitely do. It is amazing.
Yeah. That's dope.
But also like I think I mentioned it last week, but Limited Run Games also did like their own showcase, and it seemed like they were sort of going for a similar vibe. Whereas like, oh, we're doing this like very badly produced thing, and but the problem was it was actually badly produced, and
Okay.
and it was actually like people from the company doing all the presentation stuff, like doing the line delivery, and they're not very good at delivering those lines, so it didn't land as well. It was bad, but I don't know. They tried, but yeah, it was not great. But to the rest of the actual conferences, not that, Devolver actually showed games, so, but yeah, they did it in a great fucking way. But one of the, I think maybe somewhat anticipated because they hadn't been in the show for a while, but Square-Enix had their own showcase, and they basically streamed a video, a pre-recorded video, and they didn't show fucking anything, really.
Dude.
People were expecting Final Fantasy VII Remake or some other crazy shit that hadn't been announced yet, and none of that happened.
Yeah. Square Enix. I said before EA was the worst. Square Enix definitely is right there, or right above EA, because that was horrible.
Yeah,
they didn't show anything. They didn't show or do anything. It was like the same shit. It's like you've been away for years. You come back and this is what you present.
Yeah. A lot of what they showed here has been showed in other conferences, so it was bizarre that they even did anything. They did have Keith David narrating the whole thing, so that was nice.
That was probably the best thing about it. I'd have to say.
But they did show off a couple of new things. One of which was they had a new trailer for Dragon Quest XI, which was a little more in depth than what we've seen before. But they announced also a new game from Platinum Games called Babylon's Fall, which again, teaser trailer, nothing of substance in terms of gameplay, but that's coming out in 2019. And probably the only other thing that they announced at the conference, and is the weirdest fucking thing in the world, but it is a game called The Quiet Man, and it is, for whatever reason, they are all the cutscenes are done in FMV, like actual shot, like people, actors doing stuff, and it is like a deaf man just beating up on people for some reason. I'm not sure why, but the trailer that they showed, it started off with live action film, and then they did this big camera sweep, and then it turned into like a polygonal 3D actual video game, and then that's where the combat took place. But then after that, I guess it switched back to the live action. So I don't know. This is a weird thing that anyone is even making this. Why is that needed? I don't know. But it exists now. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much like Square Enix. There's like what the fuck? Why?
Yeah, it didn't need to be there. I think the trailer that they showed for Kingdom Hearts was new. The Pirates of the Caribbean trailer. Kingdom Hearts 3. And I think that was mistaken.
No, it was the same trailer as before. The one you're thinking about happened at Sony.
Oh, that's right. It happened at Sony. Well, yeah. But so yeah, they had literally nothing new. I guess I tried to give them too much credit.
Yeah. But
and we didn't even get anything about the Avengers project that they teased last year.
No, I guess that's just too far away or something.
That. Yeah, I was really surprised about that. I thought they would have had something about that.
But nothing. Bupkis.
Nothing.
But then we get an actual show from Ubisoft, because they start off with this crazy dance number, which is basically the way they start off every show now, which is just something for Just Dance. Like, they don't even show anything about the game. They just have this crazy dance number, and then, hey, Just Dance 2019.
Hey, it still exists.
But yeah, they had like somebody in a panda suit just dancing all crazy, like through the streets and then into the building and the theater. And it was like, okay, sure, why not? Then that led into Beyond Good and Evil 2. They showed off some new stuff there, and our friends are back. We get to see Paige and Jade, but Jade is looking a little different. I don't know what the hell is going on here, but
yeah,
it seems like she's evil, and this is a prequel still, and I'm just all confused. I don't understand anything that's going on anymore. But yeah, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is happening. It seems like they showed more substance stuff in this trailer, at least in terms of the story. But they also announced this collaboration with Hit Record, which is run by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it's sort of like this crowdsourced thing where you can all kinds of creative people can come in and join together and collaborate on stuff. And basically, the people behind Beyond Good and Evil 2 want people to collaborate and make stuff for the game, like art and music and pretty much everything under the sun, because I don't know why they can't make the game on their own. But this is what's happening. Then they talked a little bit about Rainbow Six Siege. They were bragging about, hey, we've got 35 million players, and talking a little bit about their pro league. Then a man looking very much like Evel Knievel came up on stage. He drove up on a little dirt bike, and he actually had a pratfall on one of the podiums on the stage, which was pretty cool. And he announced Trials Rising is happening. So Trials is continuing, and they're also bringing in members of the community to help people or help them make the game. Or I think specifically they mentioned like helping them build out the tutorial for the game, because if you don't know already, Trials is incredibly complex for as simple of a game as it is, because the controls are very subtle, and you need to. They're very expressive with what you can do in that game. But yeah, I'm glad to see that series is continuing. It's been pretty cool. They showed a little bit more of the Division 2. They mentioned that there's going to be 8-player raids in the game, which is something they've never done before. And there's going to be 3 episodes of DLC in the first year of the Division 2, and that each of those DLCs is going to be completely free. Which is like, holy shit, this is amazing. But yeah, they showed off a little bit of that. They showed off some gameplay of that game at the Ubisoft conference. Then they showed off some DLC for the Mario plus Rabbids game, featuring Donkey Kong, called Donkey Kong Adventure. And I didn't know if this was in the first game as well, but Grant Kirkhope is doing the music for this game, and they had him there live playing music live to that trailer that they showed for that game.
Yeah, I believe that he music for the first game as well.
Okay, that's cool. Then they showed off some stuff on that Skull and Bones game, which is basically their pirate game, going out to sea and stealing booty. And I don't know, that game seems like it's coming along very nicely. I don't know how much of I think the main fear I have is the Sea of Thieves thing. Is like there wasn't enough to do in that game, but it seems like this is a little bit more robust than that game. So, Skull and Bones is happening. They also brought back Elijah Wood because they're still doing that Transference game, which still eludes me. I'm still not sure exactly what that whole experience is going to be, but they're collaborating with Elijah Wood and doing stuff there. Starlink is a new Ubisoft game. It seems like they're keeping the toys to life thing alive. But I think the biggest surprise was that Star Fox is going to be in this game.
Yeah, that was a big surprise, because it's just like, what?
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to have like actual like R-Wing toys specifically for this. But I believe the Star Fox is just exclusive to the Switch version of the game.
Right.
But yeah, they had like Miyamoto in the audience and stuff, and they brought him on briefly on stage. So I don't know. It was like, again, like I guess Ubisoft and Nintendo are all buddy now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They announced some new stuff for Honor, which is getting, I guess, a starter edition on PC, and it's going to be free for this weekend. And they're announcing, I think, some new DLC that's coming along the pike. I think some new enemy or some new character types. So that might be exciting for some people who are fans of that game. And of course, the big thing was the new Assassin's Creed game called Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And this time, we're going to ancient Greece. And you can pick one of 2 protagonists. One's a lady and one's a guy. And it seemed like they were using like the word RPG a lot in terms of this game. So it seems like this is going to be more of that. Sort of like a continuation of what they've been doing with like Assassin's Creed Origins and stuff, where you get colored loot and you get numbered loot and it has stats and everything on it. So, but one of the new things in this game is that you actually have like conversation trees too, so you can talk to people and make decisions in dialogue and stuff. So, I don't know. It looks really good in terms, technically, but it's still an Assassin's Creed game, which I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to dive back in, but I don't know if this is the game to do it for me.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's worth a shot, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, they're still doing it. They're still at it. But that was pretty much it for Ubisoft. I know I kind of went through that real quick, but I don't know if you had anything else to add or comment on Ubisoft stuff.
No, Rayman.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed, but that's okay. It's always next year.
Yep. That's all we can hope for. The next thing we have is Sony, of course. And I'm just going to say it right off the bat. They handled this whole thing all weird. I don't know what was going on with this thing. But yeah, they at least for the people in attendance for this conference, they had them in this like church for the first part of the conference. It was standing room only, and they started off with a hooded man playing a banjo on stage. And I was like, what is happening here? This is very bizarre.
Oh Lord.
But then that led into a trailer for The Last of Us 2, which it then became apparent why they're in that church, because the first scene of that trailer takes place in an environment very much that looked like the environment that they were in already, physically. So, yeah, it was that was a weird thing. I don't know. It started off with like this gay romance thing, and then jump cut to a grisly ass murder. I'm like, wow, that was a tone shift for sure.
Yeah,
my God.
I'm not sure. I wasn't sure of like I'm not sure of like when that like happened. Like, did that happen already? Is that going to happen? Like, I'm not sure like what the context of that whole thing was. It was a weird transition. And then when they transition back, it makes it seem like it was in the past, but then at the same time it just seems like Ellie is just bloodthirsty now. And she's just imagining like how she's gonna like murder people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, so I don't know. I don't know. It is weird, but yeah, we'll have to see. It looks great. Don't get me wrong. It looks really, really good, and I'm definitely day one for me for sure. But I was just like, I don't understand.
Yeah, it just doesn't. I don't think it works without the context.
Yeah,
because it's kind of hard to show that game in particular. But yeah, like they showed that, which was pretty. Yeah, it's worth watching, I think, if you're a fan of the Naughty Dog stuff. But after they showed that, they had to move that audience to a different room.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
What are you doing?
So they threw to these this other area where they were having like a brief interview with Sean Layden again, and talking about stuff. And I don't know. There was like a brief like 15-minute intermission or something like that. It was crazy. I was like, what? How are you going to start off with that and then make people wait for more stuff? That's just ridiculous. But they said that they announced that Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is now free on PlayStation Plus. I think that's going to be up for a month, so you have until like July to get that. But eventually they got to the next room, and there was a man playing a flute for everybody, and I was like, Jesus Christ, what is happening? I actually said it like when they were in that first room, like this has a kids recital kind of vibe. And then the fact that they're playing different musical instruments just didn't really help their situation at all. But yeah, that flute man kind of led into the actual gameplay trailer of Ghost of Tsushima, which is the new Sucker Punch joint. And my God, that game looks crazy. Add this to the list of samurai games for this year. But yeah, the game looks really good.
Yes, it does.
very pretty. That I don't know that I've seen environments in a video game quite like that. So I'm excited to play that game eventually.
So also playable here at E3 this year.
Holy crap, that is amazing!
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like great games that are like hands-on here at E3 this year, and that's one of them.
Yeah,
and line is stupid for it. Like the lines for anything on here is like ridiculous.
Yeah,
but you got to like kind of take what you can get. In certain cases, game you really want to play, then you're gonna wait for it. Because there's hundreds of other people that want to play it just as bad as you.
Yep, that's the way it is. Then they had a short like teaser trailer for a game called Control, which is the next joint from Remedy Games, who've made the Max Payne games and Alan Wake, and the last game they did was Quantum Break.
Yes.
On Xbox. Then like a big kind of reveal. People have been waiting for this for a while, ever since it got announced. But we got a trailer for Resident Evil 2, the remake.
Dude,
it's real, dude. And it looks pretty fucking good so far.
Yeah, dude, it looks really fucking good. Again, also playable here at E3 this year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they have a playable demo. I have a playable demo of it, and I was watching a showcase on it. It was one of those things that you had to be invited to. You got to see like one of the developers from Capcom playing the game while they were like talking about it, and it looks really good, man. Like it looks really, really good. It's like they improved on it's like they're kind of mixing RE4 and RE7.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not first person, but it's definitely got more of an RE7 vibe to it than like bang bang pow pow RE4, RE4 5 and 6 rather. But it's got definitely like more of a horror vibe to it, survival horror vibe to it, like RE7 did.
Okay. That's cool.
Resident Evil 2 is probably my favorite of the series. I'm totally looking forward to this, and I'm going to try my best to play it while I'm here.
Dang. Well, yeah. Best of luck, I guess.
Yeah, thanks, man. Again, line like par for the course. I'm just saying it again. The line for it is ridiculously.
Yeah, I bet. The line for everything is going to be fucking crazy over there.
Yeah.
But also at Sony, we actually got to see gameplay for Death Stranding. So
yeah,
we can confirm. Yeah, that's a video game.
But you know what? Still doesn't explain a goddamn thing.
No, yeah, there was like a long montage of the Norman Reedus character just going on a journey with a weird backpack, and at every different state that he was in, there was like a different load on his back. So it kind of looked ridiculous and almost cartoony at times how much shit he was carrying on his back. I was like, what the hell is going on? But we saw some new characters as well. I think 2 new female characters in the game. But yeah, they're very enigmatic, of course. No one knows anything about this game that's not working on it, I guess. But yeah, that's it's still weird as hell.
Yeah, Kojima did a panel today at the Coliseum, and he was talking about the game, again, literally gave nothing away.
Of course.
Like, it was all just general, wait and see, or I think at one point he was like, I can't talk about that.
Yeah.
It's just like nothing. He gave nothing away. So it's just like, okay. People are going to it's weird. People are going to go in droves to buy this game, but we have no fucking clue.
Without knowing what it is, yeah.
Yeah. It's weird.
But that's the cachet that man has, You can believe that whatever he delivers is going to be worth playing.
Yeah, I agree.
Other than that, I think the only thing worth mentioning, 2 things worth mentioning, is they had a brief tease for the sequel to Neo. Speaking of samurai games, that's coming. And then we got another lengthy gameplay section of the new Spider-Man game. And very much focused around, I guess, this new Sinister Six, or at least the 5 that we've seen so far in this trailer. But man, this game is shaping up nicely so far.
Oh, I agree. I actually got to play the game.
Oh, okay.
While I was here, and I got lucky too because the demo I was playing, it messed up on me, and so. The demo is like 20 minutes long, and they tell you when you have like time left, like how much time you have left. And the demo I was playing messed up on me, and they were like, "Oh, sorry, this happens to like one out of every 500 people. Do you want to just play another one? You just want to play it again?" And I'm like, "Sure,
yes, please."
So I was able to play the demo twice, dude. I'm not gonna say anything else, but this game is going to be fucking dope. Like, this game is going to shape out to be amazing. I'll talk more in detail about the actual gameplay of it next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
I got hands on with Spider-Man. I'm happy for that.
Oh man, that's dope.
Yep.
All right, that pretty much wraps it up for what Sony had. I think barring that weird like transition at the beginning.
Yeah.
With them having to change rooms and shit, I think they had an okay show. Not the best, but overall they didn't show much. Which I think they pretty much said before this whole thing started.
They're only going to focus on those 4 games.
Yeah.
Well, really focus on the 4 games.
But we got a little bit of extra stuff too, like the Resident Evil 2 remake and other things.
Oof. That sure was something. Sure.
That's fantastic. But then our final bit of business is the Nintendo Direct. And they also, like Square, didn't show much. But what they did show was there was this mech game called Daemon X Machina, which is being developed by Marvelous Studios. And I forget there were some names that they had at the end of that trailer, but it seemed like there were some people that had worked on some other games, but I don't remember what those games were at the moment. But that looked interesting. They showed off again, I guess, Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee stuff. They detailed that little Pokeball controller that we were talking about a while back. If you buy that, it comes with the Pokemon Mew. So that might give some people an incentive to buy that because you get dope-ass Pokemon with it that you can get in the game.
Yep. Pokemon, Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, playable here at E3.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And like I said before, you know what I'm going to say, so I don't need to say
it. Hold that L until next week. That's what I got to do.
Yeah.
Then they showed their evil side and they announced Super Mario Party, which is another Mario Party for the Switch this time. And I'm like, no, why would you do that? No, we don't need this in our lives. Get the hell out of here. But yeah, that's happening. They showed some interesting uses of the Switch hardware, and it seems like you can like even couple multiple Switches and play the game, which I'm curious how that all works out. I don't know if the Switches are actually communicating with each other wirelessly to sync all that stuff up, but there's some new ways to play party games with your pals. They had they had another teaser for a new Fire Emblem game thing for the Switch, but yeah, they didn't really show anything of substance really. Fortnite is coming to Switch, or is on Switch right now. That is announced there. They showed off then there were some like a little brief like trailers. What I have of note here is Killer Queen Black is coming to the Switch, which finally Killer Queen is coming to home. But I think it's coming with some changes, so they kind of adapted it for consoles, new weapons and other maybe even abilities and stuff. So there's some new stuff happening there. Hollow Knight is finally making it to the Switch. It's actually out now if you are interested in that game. and more montages of trailers. And then, of course, the big thing that everybody's been waiting for, what's happening with Smash Brothers. And they announced Super Smash Brothers Ultimate is the new game. And the big thing is that literally every Smash Brothers character is playable in this game.
Yes, and it's also been confirmed that this is an upgraded port of the Wii U game, the Wii Smash, and it is updated all the characters that have ever existed. Blah 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 blah. And they also have like a new character, Ridley, I believe is the new character that they have.
Yes, and they also have Daisy, but she's basically an Echo version of Peach.
She's a Peach swap.
But yeah, I wouldn't say it's necessarily just a port because they are adding some new gameplay features as well. So it's
yeah,
it's sort of like an arcade edition version of like Smash Brothers or something.
Yeah, it's definitely heavily based off of the Wii U game though. Like, there's nothing really truly new about it. They're just incorporating a bunch of past elements into this game. And it's basically like a deluxe edition for Smash. Like, have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Pokemon Tournament, DX, and all that stuff. That's this version of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, and also the Inklings are new to this game as well.
Oh yeah, that's correct. They are new.
But
well, I actually have an appointment to play it tomorrow.
Oh boy!
So I am going to get hands-on with Smash Brothers Ultimate. I'll report back on that time. They were doing some really interesting things with the game this time around. Like they're actually like holding their Smash Brothers Invitational live.
Right. Yeah.
While like people were like demoing, playing. So yeah, that's all really, really cool. So I'll also be talking about that next time too.
Excellent. But yeah, I think the craziest part was that most of the time of their direct was dedicated to Smash Brothers. Like they spent a half hour literally just on this game, and they were talking about all kinds of crazy minutia that I don't think was necessary to go over in this fucking thing. Jesus Christ. Like they showed literally a hit stun animation for Olimar because if you look real closely, you'll see when he gets hit, his visor is cracked. But don't worry, when he's not being hit anymore, it goes right back to normal. Like, really, you need to spend all that time, detailing that? Oh, hey, look, Bayonetta has like 2 different costumes. She's got her original game costume and then the sequel. And then if you listen carefully, she's got different sound effects for them. And then they play each of the different sound effects. And I'm like, no, stop. This is not necessary.
Yeah, they also commented on some of the advanced techniques of this new game. And I thought that was a little relevant. That was a little more relevant than what the other stuff about like shit that doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But it turns out that that they want to make this like the definitive version of Smash. Like they want to basically like throw out Melee because they've incorporated a lot of elements from Melee into this version of the game, and now it seems like they really want to like focus on this one. Like, instead of having 2 Smash games at Evo, for example, they'll only have the one.
Right, yeah.
So they just want to bring it all together. Yeah. You know the deal. And it's also out December.
Yeah.
December of this year.
Yeah, seems very exciting.
December 7th. Yeah, so you know me. I still have my GameCube controllers. I still have my adapters. I'm good. I'm good to go.
You are set.
Yes, I am.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, other than that, that's pretty much what Nintendo announced on their main direct. They probably have shown some stuff off on their Treehouse stuff that I have not seen yet. But that's pretty much all the key takeaways. And that's pretty much it for all like the big conferences. Spent a lot of time covering all that stuff. I don't know if you had any other final thoughts you wanted to share about this year's E3 conferences.
The conferences, for the most part, they were okay. There were some There were some good ones, some bad ones. It was just kind of okay this year.
Yeah.
I felt strongly about some games than others, some conferences than others. But being here and being able to go hands on with a lot of the stuff, I'll be able to have a better judgment of the show overall. But E3 this year was all right. All right. Last year was like fuck, like what the fuck? Like this year was like okay. Sony went in a different direction. Xbox really tried to like come out swinging.
Yeah.
And Square, EA, unfortunately didn't work out. Devolver, I still have to see that because that sounds hilarious.
Devolver knocked it out of the park. Yeah.
Yeah. And Nintendo, they wanted. I think everyone just wanted to know about Smash. Like that's what was on everyone's radar this time around. Whereas last year they had games like Mario Odyssey, DLC for Breath of the Wild, and
but it would have been nice if they showed at least something else.
Yeah, like I wanted to see Metroid Prime. Like where was that?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I wanted to see like just something, like maybe a new Donkey Kong game in development, instead of like a port of Tropical Freeze like they just had and that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, there's always next year. There's always next.
Yep, the games will never stop. That's for sure. But I guess with that, we can go into headlines because news is happening even outside of E3. But we've of course are going to cover some things that have been coming out of E3 as well, outside of the conferences, of course. So before we do that, be sure to follow along with us over at InnerCityGeeks.com, where you can find our show notes and we'll have links to everything we're going to talk about. But the first thing I want to talk about briefly was the Summit of Power for Dragon Ball FighterZ. I don't know if you got to check out any of this.
I did see some of the matches, including 2 upsets. I guess you could say. But yeah, that was pretty fucking dope. That was pretty fucking dope. But I know you have to talk about it, so right on my.
Well, I just really wanted to just use this as a jumping off point to just talk about the event. But yeah, it seemed like a very cool event that happened for a couple of days. It wasn't all, completely focused on just Dragon Ball FighterZ. They did do some fun stuff in between. Like they shot a their kind of a recreation of the Wonder Years intro, which I thought was hysterical, with featuring Hook Gang God, who basically looks like Fred Savage in those days. There was a whole grading of different breakfast cereals between the American and Japanese players, which was eye-opening because Dogura and Goichi both thought Fruit Loops was the worst, right above, like even worse than Grape Nuts, which all the American players were like, that is the worst cereal. I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. But their Mafia games were pretty fucking hysterical too. I don't know if you got to see any of that, but that was great to watch, just to see them all argue with each other and try and lie, and it was a pretty good event, even again outside of the Dragon Ball stuff. But yeah, the actual tournament was also crazy. But in the end, Mr. Hook Gang God himself ended up taking the tournament, beating both the other heavy hitters, Goichi and Sonic Fox.
Yeah.
Which I think he never beat before, even though they fight a lot in over at NLBC.
No, they've never fought before. Not fought before. He's never beaten him before.
Yeah.
It's that was a huge thing for.
Yeah, and doing it with Piccolo on his team too.
I know. He basically said that Piccolo was too fun to give up, because Piccolo takes a lot of work in that game.
Yeah,
you need crazy amounts of meter at all times in order to do anything viable with him, and just he's different enough that he doesn't really he's not really quite running with the rest of the cast on such a high level, but he stuck with him.
Yep.
Even clinching some matches with him. So hey, more power to him.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully he can keep that little streak going. I don't know how long he can do that though, because competition is hot Because they also announced that world tour now, so now there's official like money on the line, and yep,
ranking, world ranking, stuff like that. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy too because Goichi before Sonic Fox beat him, and what the hell was it just happened?
Combo Breaker.
Combo Breaker, thank you. Before Sonic Fox beat him and Combo Breaker, Goichi only had one tournament loss, and that's Zogura. But like, I think he was like 98-1.
Yeah,
and then and that one happened a while back, so he was like straight winning like these tournaments like for a while now, and then Sonic Fox beats him, and then now Hookane God beats him, and I think Goichi came in third, not even second. So
no, he came in fourth.
Okay, damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I don't know if Goichi's getting tired, or like people are adapting to him, or like it's just more people got fresher faces coming up and trying to take over now. But Dragon Ball is looking good.
Yeah,
Hookane God's looking good.
I think also Goichi was talking about maybe dropping Vegeta, but obviously hasn't had enough time to pick up a new character and implement that into his team. So he might be in a transitional period because Vegeta is not as good as he used to be.
Yeah, that assist, man, that he took, it was a super hard hit for him. Like,
yeah,
like that assist was everything, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still good, but it's not. It's now that you can super dash in the middle of it and reflect in the middle of it. It's just like, and it only takes one. And it's just, it doesn't last as long. That assist was everything, and now it's just gone.
Yeah, now it's gone. Sorry, pal. But other than that, we've got the announcement that happened before E3 that Dead or Alive is getting a new game, getting Dead or Alive 6.
Yeah.
So fighting games still a thing. And there's a trailer linked in this article that we have here. But it seems like, they're kind of going away. I think the big thing is that they're kind of leaning away from the whole sexy female characters with the bouncing boob physics and all that the the past games have been known for. So now
the internet's pretty much in an uproar about that too. Like people are like, we want the bouncing boobs physics and stuff like that. And the developers are like, we really want to try to take this game seriously, actually. Instead of like for the past like 10 years where we haven't taken the game seriously. People are like freaking out about it.
Yeah, I wonder if part of that is like an esports thing where, because
it's
I remember
possible.
when Street Fighter was on Evo, or when they were on ESPN, there was that whole thing where they had to change the default costume for Rainbow
outfits.
Mika. Yeah, because it was too revealing for TV apparently. So maybe this is part of that. I'm curious if that is the case or not. But
maybe they want to step into the esports scene. They actually want to like legit step into the esports scene. They want to be able to take in, because that generates money for them, revenue. People play their games more, So if that's the case, so that's probably another reason of it too. Yeah.
But there's another DOA coming out. I don't know if it's playable at E3, but I know for sure it will be at Evo playable.
I don't think so. I don't think it's playable here. I didn't look for it though, so I'll get back to you on that, but I doubt it.
Mm-hmm. All right, but I've never played the DOA games, so I really have no no connection or no frame of reference.
I think I played like Dead or Alive 2. That's it.
Ah, okay.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. But again, every other fighting game is coming out except for Virtua Fighter, which I'm still salty about.
Dude, oh man, I'm so sad that they didn't announce that, because I'm like, yo, Dead or Alive? Then what's next? Here we go.
Yep, might as well.
Fighter 6. Just do it. Nothing.
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope. Oh well. Again. Yep, always next year. But later this year, we're getting a sequel to Hitman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was announced. So they're taking a different approach this time. So instead of like the episodic thing, which they did with the last game, it seems like they're doing an actual full on game with everything, all the levels in one package, which I'm kind of sad about. I kind of liked that the episodic nature of the first game, but I'm pretty sure it did not do well for them when they first announced that. So I understand why they would want to go this route, but. There's a trailer here in this article. It looks really fucking cool. They show off the first, what I assume is the first level, which is in Miami during some like F1 race. And there's a whole lot of fun things you can do there. Slapping people with fishes and whatnot. It's what I love about Hitman, and there's going to be more of it, and I can't freaking wait.
Yeah, they have a pretty big display of it here at E3. I don't think it's playable, but there's a lot of advertisements for it.
Okay, interesting.
So I took some pictures of stuff. When I saw it, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, I'm very excited about this. Also surprising, it's going to be published by Warner Brothers Interactive, which I was not expecting.
That's the booth it's at.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised. Like, I was like wondering if they do continue the series, like who would pick him up. I was assuming maybe at some point, since they got the rights to it, that they would maybe self-publish. But seems like Warner Brothers is picking up the bill, so I hope that's good for them, because it wasn't good when Square-Enix was handling shit.
Right.
But won't have to wait long for this, because the sequel will arrive on November 13th. So I will be eagerly awaiting that game. Also in the news, had a little headline here that says Valve is going to stop policing content on Steam.
I saw that.
Yeah. So there was kind of a little hubbub a while back because for whatever reason they decided to clamp down on a bunch of adult-leaning like games, not necessarily hentai, but more of the visual novel variety, where there was some like sexual nature or sexual themes explored in those games, and they had given a lot of warnings to people saying that, hey, you have to change this game or get this stuff out of the game. In a lot of cases, games that have been out in that state on Steam for a long time, and just out of the blue, they're like, oh no, we don't want this stuff on Steam anymore. I was like, okay, it seemed odd that they're doing that, and a lot of people were up in arms about it. But now they've come back and gone the other way and be like, okay, you know what? We don't want to do anything anymore. We're not going to police anything. Anybody can put whatever the hell they want on Steam now, which is a strange turn to make after what they were doing before. So
yeah,
I don't know. It seems like they just want to wipe their hands clean of the whole situation. You be like, you know what? Fuck it. Do whatever the hell you want. We're not going to stop you. But one of the things that they did say here is that they're going to give people the tools that they need to kind of filter the content. So if you don't want to see a certain thing on the Steam store, you don't have to. You can just enable whatever filters and set all that stuff up. But yeah, I don't know. It seems incredibly bizarre that that they would even try to, I guess, censor this stuff in the first place, and then kind of reverse course in a complete 180 degrees, saying like, oh, we're not going to do anything now. Fuck it. Sorry. We shouldn't have done this in the first place.
It does seem odd. I like you said, I don't know why they would try. There's way too much content for them to keep track of. Like that would facilitate them or necessitate them needing to police it, because that costs time, and money, and
lots of people,
right? And then also now they're like, you know what, we tried, so don't worry about it. We're it's fine. But then why did you try in the first place?
Yeah, and in that way, I don't know, it seemed like a bad deal all around. But actually, I did hear something that one theory that for the reason as to why they did it in the first place was because of the timing was around when they released the Steam Link app on iOS and Android. And I think the thinking was that if they didn't want, the App Store, I guess specifically for Apple, I don't know necessarily with Google, but that they didn't want you to be able to potentially get access to like adult content on this or through their app, because that might have like messed up the app approval process or something for the app. So I was wondering if that was the case or not. But yeah, I had seen that theory thrown out there, and it seemed to make sense, or seemed to make the most sense for why they would do something like that out of the blue.
Yeah, what I was gonna say earlier is that I feel like that if they're gonna try to police those things, they should also try to police that are hyper violent, but even more popular, like I don't know, Mortal Kombat or
Yeah.
Doom, or games where there's like excessive amounts of blood and gore and mutilation, and they don't police those, but they police that. Like it's just like a weird double standard that they shouldn't have even, if they allowed like those games to exist and run on their platform, then they should very well allow that to run as well, and people just do what they can to block it out, to filter it out. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just proving a point. I don't have a problem with either types of those games. I appreciate a hyper violent game to the next person, but still, that's just what the double standard there.
Yeah, it's like when you start making these rules up out of nowhere, then it's a very slippery slope in terms of where you draw the line. And
Exactly.
it seemed like they didn't have any hard rules on where they drew the line. So they're like, oh, you know what? We fucked up. Let's reverse course here.
Like, let's just walk away from it.
Yeah, but yeah, it just seemed like an incredibly crazy, weird thing that even happened. And then they're just, yeah, again, the way they clean their hands of it is just bizarre. But anyway, in other insane news, Fortnite, they have hit an incredible milestone. 125 million players are playing Fortnite in less than a year. I don't know what to say. This is crazy.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of people. Yeah, they're saying it's one of the biggest games on the planet, bigger even than League of Legends. Again, also free. And my God, I don't understand how it feels like it just happened underneath our noses. Because I know this game doesn't appeal to you and me, but I don't know. Somehow the word got out, and literally everybody's playing it. Like all the kids too in schools is a big epidemic. I'm like, wow. Yeah. I'm surprised it got the way it did. It's just nuts,
dude. It's crazy. It's like statistically, you're at work, and I've experienced this personally, but like statistically, if you're at work, then the person next to you or the person next to you either plays it or knows someone who plays it. And
yeah.
That is the case with me at work. Like the person next to me at work, they play it. The person that sits in front of me at work, they play it as well, and they talk about it. And it's just like, holy shit. Yeah, so it's a lot. That's a lot of people, dude. That's a lot of people, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is not. I will say I did briefly play Fortnite, but I don't know. It's just not for me. I think the thing that turns me off is that building aspect. Like I just don't want to engage with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
It seems to be good at that game, specifically like the Battle Royale version. You need to build, and you need to build fast, and also juggle that with the actual combat and murdering people. Right. But it's just I just can't deal with it. I'd rather do PUBG, but I don't play either of those games anyway with any regularity. So
yeah, same.
There's that, but yeah, it's taken over, and we're gonna get left behind. We're the dinosaurs.
Dude, I don't know, man. Like, it could either leave us behind or we could get swept up into it. Because, again, there are so many people at my job that are saying, hey, do you play Fortnite? We should get together. We should play sometime. And I'm like, look, I'm gonna concentrate on my fighting games. I got a tournament to practice for, stuff like that. And then they're like, nah, man, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. All of us are playing. I'm like, all of you? Yeah, all of us here. I'm like, God damn it. So,
yeah.
I don't know. It'll one or the other's.
Yeah, like it helps like the game is free, you know.
Yeah.
That's a big incentive. That's just erasing any barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Also, the funny thing too, the game came out on Switch, right? Mm-hmm. Apparently, they have enabled voice chat in game on the Switch without having to use the freaking app for the online.
Really?
Yeah, so somehow they just like, you know what, Epic is doing what Nintendo don't. Basically, they're like, you want to talk online with your people, with your squad, you can do that. Fuck Nintendo. You don't need no app. We can just do this because we're Epic. We can do whatever the hell we want.
Yo, Nintendo's not going to be happy about that. There's not much they can do, but they're not going to be happy about that because Nintendo's always tried to fucking like censor like that sort of thing, like from chat because they don't want like all the hate speech and the cursing and the the death threats to permeate their system in any way.
Our
So
precious children.
yeah, so this is I guess they're not going to be happy about it, but there's not much they can do at this point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's Fortnite. But I thought this next bit was exciting, but apparently, and this is a thing we keep forgetting to cover. But there's also the PC press conference. I think the PC gaming conference that happened
that's
also.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't get to see it, but one of the things that came out of it was that the Yakuza games are coming to PC.
Nice.
And I am very excited. So they're starting out with Yakuza 0, and that's coming out in August on PC, and it's currently up for pre-order, so you can grab that. But it seems like both that game and Kiwami are also coming out to PC, so it's very exciting times.
Cool.
Yeah. There's also a little banner image as well. I guess a bunch of other Sega games are coming. So like the first, actually Shenmue 1 and 2 are also part of this package, as well as Valkyria Chronicles 4. So it seems like Sega is going all in on PC, which is always a good thing because PC, I just like to have, it's almost like a nice little safety net for games because, if you lose your console or something, you can always trust that Steam will have games on the library forever, and you can hopefully just download them and play them for years to come.
No, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm just happy that stuff is happening. Hopefully the ports are good. I don't know how good Sega has been in the past so far with porting games to PC, but that is the only other concern. But other than that is going to do it for all of our headlines this week. And I will say we have been going on forever for this episode, so I'm probably going to skip all the new and upcoming releases this week because E3 is bananas.
This week, this week has been about any new and upcoming releases like where we're pretty much like overshadowed or covered by this time around. It's just one of those weeks where where it's okay if we wait till next time. So, all right, man. Well, thank you. You did a lot of the heavy lifting here. I appreciate it. It's just that being on location, it's difficult.
Yeah.
To kind of help out there. So I appreciate that, man. You the man.
Yeah, not a problem.
So with that, I bring us to the end of this episode. So as always, please go to innercitygeeks.com where we have a bunch of stuff sometimes regarding everything geek. It's where you can follow along with us. Go to listen to us on our YouTube channel. It's Good Games Podcast. And, you can watch the pretty picture and listen to us there. It's just another place you can go listen to it, the show. And while you're there, subscribe. And you can also listen to us on iTunes where you can leave us a review. It's one of the best things that you can do for us. Just let us know how we're doing so we can adjust accordingly on that. And you can basically listen to us where all podcasts are available to be listened to. And you can also reach us on all the social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, mainly at Inner City Geeks. The Twitter for this show is at Good Games Podcast, Good Game Podcast. And the email, you can email us at goodgamespodcast@gmail.com where we actually read our emails. So please leave us a response. Let us know what you think of the show. This show, but I mean, really. Let us know what you thought of the conferences. Let us know what you thought of like the games that have been released.
Hell yeah.
Anything that you're looking forward to. Like, just anywhere you want to reach out. Like you can just on all of those avenues. And Also, last but not least, when you go to innercitygeeks.com, you're going to see a little Amazon banner on the right-hand side of the page. Click that. It'll take you to Amazon. I'm sure there was something that you wanted to buy from there, like you wanted to pre-order all of those games that were announced, that are going to be coming somewhat soon, next 6 to 8 months. Definitely within 8 months, because January and February are pretty big months for games. So when you do that, and when the pre-orders go through, when you go through innercitygeeks.com, through Amazon, a little bit of that will come back towards us so we can provide more show and more content for you. And that is going to about do it for this one. That's a long one. But E3 is a big show.
Yeah. I keep tricking myself into thinking like, yeah, we can just burn through this stuff real quick. Just, brief outline and nope, never happens. It's always a monster episode.
yeah, it's always. But yeah, no, there's lots to go over this year, and I will be reporting back on full detail on my time here at E3 with the next episode.
Excellent.
And yeah, so thank you all for listening. Thank you, Alex, for doing all this. Appreciate it. And yeah, we're gonna say goodbye. And leaving as always, we say, good games, everybody.
Good games.